It was a quiet night, and Thomas Gray sat alone in his kitchen, staring at the untouched glass of whiskey in front of him. The house was too silent. His wife and daughter were visiting her parents for the weekend, leaving him to wrestle with his thoughts. He kept replaying what had happened earlier that evening. It was just a shortcut, he told himself. The back roads were dark and empty, perfect for avoiding traffic. But as he sped down the uneven road, the glow of his headlights caught something, a flash of movement. A person? A dog? He wasn't sure. Then, a sickening thud jolted through the car. He slammed on the brakes, his heart pounding. When he looked in the rearview mirror, he could see a crumpled shape lying motionless in the road. He couldn't bring himself to go back. Fear gripped him, tightening like a noose around his neck. He convinced himself it wasn't his fault, whatever it was shouldn't have been there. Maybe it wasn't even alive to begin with. Maybe someone else would find it. Maybe he could forget this ever happened. He drove home, shaking, rationalizing, ignoring the guilt that screamed inside his head. Now, in the unbearable silence of his kitchen, his mind raced. What if someone saw me? What if there was a camera? He picked up his phone, his finger hovering over the number for the police, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't risk losing everything, his family, his career, his life. Then came the knock. It was soft but sharp, cutting through the oppressive quiet. He froze, his pulse hammering in his ears. Another knock, firmer this time. He stood, his legs weak, and made his way to the door. His hand trembled as he reached for the knob and opened it. A woman stood there, pale and trembling, her wide eyes rimmed red as though she'd been crying. She looked vaguely familiar, but Thomas couldn't place her. "Are you Thomas Gray?" she asked, her voice unsteady. He nodded, his throat dry. "Yes. Can I help you?" She stared at him, her face crumpling. You killed her?" The words hit him like a slap. He stumbled back, shaking his head. I don't know what you're talking about." "My daughter," she sobbed. "She was walking home, and you hit her. You left her there. She's dead because of you." Thomas's stomach churned, and he gripped the door frame to steady himself. "I didn't mean to." "I didn't," he trailed off, his voice failing him. "She was 17, the woman whispered, tears streaming down her face. "She was just trying to come home. You didn't even stop." "I didn't know what to do," he stammered, his voice breaking. "I panicked. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Her expression twisted into something colder. Her sobs quieted, her trembling stopped, and for a moment, the air between them felt still and heavy. Then she took a step closer. "You should have stopped," she said, her voice suddenly hollow, like a distant echo. "But you didn't, and now you'll pay." Before Thomas could respond, the porch light flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. His breath caught as he tried to see her face, but she was gone. The air around him grew icy, his skin prickling with dread. Then, from somewhere deep inside the house, he heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps. Slow, steady, and coming closer.